we switch off the lights? He's sleeping. Just a little bit there. Thank you. Hi, my name is Bo. We're talking about urban connections here, right? 3 inventions, I think, the most genius inventions for urban connection. 1, the wheel. 2, fire. The 3rd, most genius invention that brings people together, that allows people to communicate, to bring the city to the village to the city, is the baby sling. If I had the possibility to shake the hands of the inventor of the baby sling, I would do that. It's really great, and thanks to the baby sling, I can be here. Thank you, Mr. Baby Sling inventor. Applause is for you. Imagine you go to work and your boss or your clients say, wow, everything is done. You can have 1 day off. What would you do with this 1 day off? Probably you will go to the park, have a rest, do things that has to be done at home. All right, a nice thing, 1 day off. Now imagine, and this is a little game with which I would like to introduce my talk. I give you 30 seconds to find out. One question for you, please talk now in the next 30 seconds to your neighbor just in front of you. Just tip on his shoulder, tip, and ask him the following question. If I gave you 1 year off, completely 1 year, you don't have to make any money jobs, you don't have to get things done, it's 1 year, you can do whatever you want. What would you do with this 1 year in your life? 30 seconds, tip on the shoulder of your neighbor, and please find it out for me. Go. Ten seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2. Please stop talking. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Time is over. Please keep the curiosity that you have right now, because that might come up later. Actually, people would say, well, 1 year off, what would I do? Maybe go to the beach. But I think you cannot go to the beach for a completely whole year. It might get boring, right? Or reading a book, just reading books for 1 year. I think most of the people here will say that they would use the lifetime to contribute something which makes sense. Is it like that? Are there any people here who would like to do something in this year that contributes something to the society that makes sense? Please raise your hands. Who would do something for the commons, for the society? Well, okay. Is this a business school students event? All right, let's say like 30–40% at least would do something which makes them proud, that makes sense to the society. I have a theory. I have a theory on motivation, on creativity, and money. I believe that there's a genius in all of us. Everybody carries a little genius inside. This genius makes us creative. This genius makes us run the extra mile. This genius is the reason why we can play a solo in a music play. This genius makes us joyful and makes us think out of the box. Most of the people will never get to know this genius. It's hidden inside. And I've met a lot of people who say, well, I'm not a creative person. Can you do that for me because you studied architecture and I haven't studied design architecture or something at all. That's why I cannot be creative. Actually, creativity has nothing to do with the things you've experienced or learned or read. And this might sound a little weird, but the creativity which comes from the genius, comes from a place which is beyond our body. It is, wait for it, wait for it, the universe. I have seen it. I can prove it. I can really prove it because, of course, you always need facts, right? You need something to touch, something to picture. I can show you later what it is. I've seen the universe. I know that everybody has this creativity inside, has this genius inside, and it's connected to the universe. I'll tell you at the end of the talk. Well, what I would do if I could have 1 year free. I work as an architect. I'm employed in an architecture design office. And, well, sometimes this genius in me glimpses up for just a few seconds. And then I grab him and ask him, what can I do to save the world? And the genius inside of me said, well, maybe do some Hartz-IV-Möbel. All right, then. I've invented the Hartz-IV-Möbel, a social design project. And then after some months, he said again, well, I'm back again, boy. Maybe we should do some Karma Chucks. And then I've invented the Karma Chucks. This is a fair trade sneakers production. You can Google it. It takes too long to explain it now. But what I really like is that sometimes this genius comes up and then tells me something, whistle, like a whistleblower. It's not illegal. He can really do that. And then you might have a clue what life is all about. I would love to continue that and get to know my genius more personally and longer. What would I do if I had 1 year free? Well, actually, it's possible to get 1 year off. After this talk, I will talk to my boss and will ask him if I can take off for 1 year in 2015, 12 months free, like a sabbatical. I call it scholarship, but not a usual scholarship. It's called the D scholarship. D stands for democratic. Why? Because everybody can do it. Normally, scholarships is reserved for people who are good in school, right? Or are close to a party, or close to a church. And the D scholarship should be accessible to everyone. And it works like this. You try to find out how much money you need for your year, for your life. I figured out for me and my family it might be like 1,500 euros. And I'm trying, I will set up a crowdfunding campaign and try to find people who fund this year. And the crazy thing about that is that the benefactors, the pledgers, the people who donate, they get nothing in return. This is so important. This is really very important. There's the revolutionary thing behind it. This is not a freelance deal. This is an unconditional deal between me and the universe, so to say. Why? The genius inside of us, everyone has it. But how can you wake him up? How can you find him? I know how you can find him. It has something to do with freedom. The genius just comes up when you free yourself from constraints, from restrictions. Imagine or remember when you lost something, a thought, right? And you try hard to remember this thought. You will never remember this thought. You have to do something else. You have to play or go out, have a walk, and then the thought comes back, right? If you pressure too much, the idea, the creativity will get stuck. The genius doesn't like pressure. And he doesn't like money that much. That's why I'm announcing the D Scholarship. And I would love, in this next year, 2015, I would love not just to, fund my life, but also find people around me, like these great speakers who were on stage today, to help them fund their life, crowdfund their life, to free them from any constraints, because then I see a chance that the genius come up. Why is it so important that we try to listen to our genius? Well, it's because of the complexity of the world. We have so many issues, so many challenges today and in the future that, honestly, nobody knows how to solve. Think about the population. It started with 1 million, I think, 100 years ago. Today we have 7 billion, and in 2050 we will have 10 billion people on Earth. Nobody knows how to feed them. And there's really no clue, no idea how to get this managed. Think about the water pollution and climate catastrophe, climate change. 50% of the food got wasted, but still we have so many people in hunger. There are so many problems that we have, and with the mindset that we have, we cannot solve it. I think this is the job for the genius inside of us. Sometimes I recognize this genius in my family. Most of the people who are still connected to this genius, they're quite small, like 6 years old or 7. I give you one example where I found out that there's really a genius inside of these kids. I used to ask my cousin, hey, you go to school, mathematics, can you already count a little bit? What is 1 plus 1? And he said, 1 plus 1. Interesting. 1 plus 1 is fun. That was his answer. Next time I asked him, what is 1 plus 1? You can do it, you've learned it in school. He said, 1 plus 1 is 3. And I said, no, sorry, but this is wrong. And he said, no, you're wrong. Imagine, Mama and Papa now live in a house, 1 plus 1, and there's a baby coming. So 1 plus 1 sometimes is 3. And he's completely, totally right. You know, mathematics, science is not the mindset to solve the problems that we have. We need these little geniuses in us. So this is why it's so important to have a system in which it is possible to fund people's life just for the sake of it, just for the sake of creativity, just to make them free from any constraints, to hope that their genius come up and help contributing to a better society, to a better world. Now, I've told you that I've seen the universe. I have it here. I can show you. Do you see this little swirl here? Where is it? Henry, sorry. Here is the little swirl. Can you see that? This is the Milky Way. This is the universe. Thank you for listening. Wake up your genius.